Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday to you. Thank you for joining in. I'm going to wait for a few other people to get in so we can talk about how is this a big win if Mr. Kelly will not be released? How will this be a big win? And I want to talk about that today. Hi, how you doing? How you doing? God is good. Happy Sunday to you. I want to wait for a few other people to get in. Give me a moment here. I wanted to talk about something that I wanted to talk about something that I feel is very important. I was actually watching. I actually saw a comment. I believe it was on Court TV, and what it was saying is that if Mr. Kelly is convicted, this would be a big win for Black women. And I have to disagree with that. And I'm going to tell you why I would disagree with that. Because number one, what are we teaching young women or women in general? What message are we sending them when we say that it's a big win for Black women? I think it would be a setback, being that the type of trial that this has been, we've seen the injustice. A lot of us have seen it. We've repeated it over and over, this injustice with this case. We've seen the judicial prosecution and the judicial system with the prosecution and how they have coached the witnesses, led the witnesses. The witnesses have incriminated themselves on the stand. They made a choice to be there. They accepted gifts from this man, uh, and they wanted to be there. And they were also fighting to be in a higher position, to be number one. And so when we look at how can this be a win for Black women, well, I do not share the same feelings with any other female that says this is a win, because this is not a game. We're looking at a man's life here on the line. And we're looking at a lot of key players that played a part in setting this man up and plotting against him and stealing from him, exploiting him, and taking things. And he became a victim in this situation. And so when we look at how is this a win for Black women, it's not, because it opens the door for other Black men, whether they're rich or famous or not. It opens up the door for other Black men to be falsely accused and charges brought up on them because the woman didn't get their way and things didn't work out. And it opens the door for even more of our men to be sitting in a situation such as Mr. Kelly, where women are not being held accountable. And what can happen is that if these women are not held accountable, it's more or less like, well, I can get away with it. I don't need to have any evidence. I don't need a police report. I don't need a hospital report. All I need is my words. All I need to say is it happened. All I need is he said, she said, this is what happens. And we have the prosecution that runs with the story. And so it's not a win, because we're not teaching younger women or any women to hold themselves in high esteem and to be accountable for their actions and the choices that they make. We're not even saying to them, you ought to be responsible for your actions. And as children, our parents taught us to be responsible for our actions. And so now you're looking at what's been painted out in the mainstream, and this has been going on. Good morning, good morning. How you doing? Welcome to the chat. And this is played out in the mainstream over and over, that young women were being held hostage, and they were, couldn't leave, couldn't eat. They were emptying themselves in buckets, and they couldn't make phone calls, and their cell phones were restricted, and they weren't getting things. But I understand that, when we look at both sides of it, when we look at both sides of the transcripts of what the prosecution were doing with all these sidebars with the judge, when we look at the witnesses on the stand, and we look at the cross-examination, because we all should hold ourselves accountable, whether we have been victims or survivors or not, accountable to higher standards, to want to seek the truth and get to the truth. And even though you have people out here that have been given the truth, they still just don't want to believe the truth. And so How do we get to the truth? How do we start holding people accountable? Well, we speak out. We stand up and we say things, and we just don't let it get brushed under the rug. Because again, if we don't get to the truth and allow the truth to be put out there, then we're going to have more women that think it's okay, and they're teaching their younger daughters to say it's okay to lie on men. It's okay not to be accountable. It's okay to accept gifts from a man that I'm not prepared to be in a, a polyamorous relationship. It's okay. And then when I don't get my way, I don't get to the top to be that wifey or that first woman of that man, then now I'm angry. Now I don't like what's happening, and now I want to sue. So it is never going to be a big win for Black women, because a big win for Black women is teaching our younger women and teaching women to hold themselves accountable, teaching women to accept responsibility for their actions, and for the judicial system, when it becomes a criminal case, to hold the women accountable, or the accusers or witnesses accountable for their actions. And because there were so many things that came out that showed that the accusers or the witnesses also committed criminal acts as well, and they actually committed criminal acts on the stand by perjury and incriminating themselves, where they information had to be impeached in to prove that they really did purge themselves and incriminate themselves on the stand. It's a big win for Black women if we can start making the right decisions and doing the right thing daily and living righteously. When women turn away from their wicked ways, the ones that have lied and have made up stories and went along with just the process and the plan of what these prosecutors and the judge have come together to do, then, and if they can hold themselves accountable, that's a big win for Black women. But today, convicting a man that doesn't deserve to be convicted is not a big win for any Black woman. We know that there's sins and crimes, and sins and crimes are two different things. And we have to be able to separate sins from crimes. Is there things that this man might have done that people wouldn't ordinarily do? Yes. Is there things that this man has done that they exposed on the stand when they were with him? But if you are going to allow the prosecution to degrade you in order to degrade this man, you are degrading yourself in the process. And it doesn't look good for you, because you participated. Good morning, good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you for coming into the chat. Welcome, welcome. But you participated in the actions and the behaviors. You participated in that. So it doesn't look good. And for me as a Black woman, I will never allow anyone to lead me to degrade myself on a stand, no matter what the situation is. There is a way that we can hold ourselves in high esteem and give our story or whatever it is that we need to tell. But when you allow prosecutors to degrade you, to degrade another person, that's this man that's on the stand, you are really enslaved to these people, and they really don't care anything about you, because if they cared about you, they would not have led you. Greetings, heal the land. They would not have led you or pressured you to degrade yourself on the stand in the process of trying to tell a story about what this man did to you. That's not a win for Black women. And as I stand on this, I may get a lot of flack, but it's not going to be a win for Black women if this man is convicted. The parents need to be held accountable for their actions as well. There's a lot of players in this game, in this situation, in this case, that have made some criminal decisions and choices, and they need to be held accountable for their actions. There is no way that this man should go down by himself. But we know we serve a mighty God. But what I'm saying is that this is not a win for Black women. We all are Black women that stand on the promises of God, and we have to hold ourselves accountable. And we are, as older women, to teach the younger women respect about themselves and how to make proper choices and better choices. And when you allow women to get on a stand and lie and make up stories and lie on a stand, that is not a win for Black women. And I stand on that. And any other Black woman that wants to dispute what I'm saying, I will talk with you. I will meet with you. We can do a virtual video, and I will stand on the promises of what I'm saying. saying this is never going to be a win for Black women when you're trying to put every Black man behind bars without evidence, without proof. You're just going by he say, and you are not doing the things that the judicial system are supposed to do, because God ordained and established the government. And when it doesn't work according to his statutes, we have to consult God. We have to pray to our Father that he will definitely be in the midst of everything that's going on to do the right thing. And God will continue to expose what's going on in our judicial system, because as a Black women, Black men, we know there's been a lot of corruption in our judicial system. We know that. But guess what? We've seen it, but now it's so obvious that we have proof that we have so much corruption in our judicial system. And the prosecutor, Elizabeth Geddes, she will go to great lengths to prosecute a Black man. She will go to great lengths to do everything she can to put another Black man behind bars, even when she has the truth in front of her. This is a sad day in our American judicial system, when anyone's U.S. constitutional rights are violated in order to get a conviction. I believe Mr. Kelly is innocent. And because of the testimony and the cross-examination, I am not an attorney, but in no way can I see that this man should be convicted of things that he's been accused of. And when you come out and look at the evidence and you hear it, the testimonies on both sides, not one side, we're not biased, but when you hear both sides of testimony, they were caught up in so many incriminating statements. How can you not find reasonable doubt? I found reasonable doubt just listening to both sides of the transcripts. I found reasonable doubt. And in my mind, I would not be able to honestly convict this man on the things that I have heard. And it's a sad day in our American judicial system to see this go on and for people not to speak up. And for, I believe it's Hip Hop News, when he talked about what was going on, we've been saying that over and over and over. Good afternoon, Star Child. Good afternoon, Real World. Welcome to the chat, Little Mac. I don't want to ignore anyone. Rosalind, and I think Hilda Land, Tanya, Miss Campbell. Thank you so much for joining in. We have to have real discussions about this, because we have a man, life is on the line. And a lot of you either have daughters, you have sons, you have nephews, fathers, cousins, friends, peers. And when we look at the evidence and the lack of evidence that have been presented on both sides, the prosecution, they presented witnesses that really just were coached, and they made up stories. They were coached and they made up stories to try to convict this man. And when we look at our Black men that are supposed to be leaders in our home, how can we get back to Black men being leaders in the home if they are standing for what is right and they still are going to be prosecuted and they're innocent? Because there's a lot of men, Black men behind bars. A lot have been released, a lot have been executed, and they were innocent. And I stand on the fact that this man is innocent. And as far as Jane Doe number 5, she wrote those letters. She wrote them. No woman, and I'm gonna and I can say most women. I would say most women then, or most women, when we write letters, we write long emotional letters. No man usually. Hello, Chris. How you doing? How you doing? Most men do not write emotional letters. They don't write long letters. Most men don't like to write anyway, and they will not write long letters like that. She wrote that letter. She told her truth in that letter. She told her truth on the Gayle King when she talked about her parents. Her parents, they sent her out there. They prostituted her. They pimped her. And that's a sad day too for a young woman where the parents are abusing and beating them, and they did everything at any cost. And when she came to Mr. Kelly, she was broke. She was skillless. She didn't have any skills. She hadn't been taught anything. And he tried to teach her some things. He tried to help her. And he did help her. But she realized that this man is a nice person. He's not what we thought he was and how we looked him up, and we wanted to set this man up. Now I realize that I have something good here. And it's too late because you played the game. And when you're playing chess, you got to know how to play chess, because it turns out that you all thought you were playing chess, but you didn't know that you were going to be exposed. See, the prosecution thought this was going to be an easy win. They thought it was going to be an open and shut case. It's not an open and shut case at all. And no one is going to sit back and allow this to go on. The people that believe in justice, the people that believe in justice are not going to allow this to go on without saying something, because we believe in justice. And I truly believe that if a man has done a woman wrong, as far as violating her rights, her constitutional rights, civil rights, and if truly have assaulted her or raped her, I believe a man should be held accountable, just as a woman should be held accountable, because there are women out here that are raping young boys, that are exploiting them. But where is the outrage? Where is the outrage when women are getting with younger men and exploiting them, when women have multiple boyfriends and they're exploiting these young men? Where is the outrage? But you want to go all the way back and look at this man's past. This man's past is not his future. And see, we cannot hold him accountable for the sins. We cannot hold the women accountable for their sins. Guess who holds them accountable? Christ holds them accountable. They have to be willing to reconcile back to him. We don't have a heaven or hell to put anyone in. And from what everything I've heard on different channels of the people that are truly against this man, they acted like they have a heaven and hell to put this man in, and they do not. That's between God and that person and the relationship they have or they don't have. But God, he holds us accountable. And when we want to reconcile back to him, he doesn't tell us that he's not going to accept us back. The angels are rejoicing anytime someone turns from their wicked ways, the angels are rejoicing. And God wants to see people reconcile back to him. He doesn't want to see anyone perish. That's what God wants. And you're right. She never changed her story about her parents, little Matt. Never changed her story. Even on the Gayle King show, she did not change her story. And so we have to use common sense in this whole thing. And some people act like they weren't born with common sense. But God gave all of us common sense. It's how we use it. And we have to change the thinking, the process of how they process information and what they think. We got to change that, because accountability comes with you taking ownership and changing your ways, and not just continually lying to get money, to get, whatever you are out there seeking to get. Because when you get anything that's not of God and you get it and it hurts other people, it will not last. But hi, Miss Casey, how you doing, Miss Daniel? But when you get things that are of God, it will last, and you will never have to do anybody in. You'll never have to do anybody wrong. You won't have to do anything when God is in the midst of your blessings, because what's for you is for you. But all these people that played a part in this man's takedown and the downfall, and they're sitting up saying he's guilty, you all going to have your judgment day. God is going to judge you for what you've done, and using God's name in vain to try to support your narratives. That's not how God works, because we as believers in Christ, we know that we have to pray for our fellow brothers and sisters that fall down. We have to pray for them, that God will reconcile them back to them for their healing. And that is what we are called to do, to love one another, our brothers and sisters. And we have so much hate going on with these people that are against this man. I've seen so many comments that were just unreal, and they didn't even know the truth. I had someone make a comment to say, what about the video? They already proven that he wasn't in any video, and they'll just keep going back and back and back. But God doesn't do that. God doesn't go back in our past like that. He wipes the slate clean when you ask for forgiveness. You are buffering. He wipes the slate clean. He doesn't go back in our past when we ask for forgiveness. When we repent of our sins, acknowledge our sins, and ask for forgiveness, God does just that. He's a merciful God and a graceful God. And as I stand on this today, I say this, that, hi, my beautiful, thank you. But I say this, that no, this will not be a win for Black women. We are not playing a soccer game. We're not playing a volleyball game. We're not playing any of those things. So how can this be a win, a big win for Black women, when you're putting a Black man, trying to find him guilty, trying to take everything from this man? And when you look at the constitutional rights, they have violated so many constitutional rights of this man. And when you talk about a win, this is not a big win for Black women. It will never be a big win. What's a big win is holding women accountable and teaching them another way, teaching them how to take care of themselves, teaching them how to be ladies and adequate and how to do the right thing and working hard to do what's right. But lying on the stand is not teaching women. That's not going to help Black women get a big win. It's actually a loss and a setback for Black women in general. And when you allow the oppressor, you allow the oppressor to use you for bad, not for the greater good, not for humanity, for bad. When you allow the oppressor to use you, you are just falling into the enslaved entrapment is what you're falling into, is continually being enslaved instead of stepping up and saying, I can't do this. I cannot participate in something that I know that I had a choice in. I made a decision or decisions. I had a choice. I had a choice. I had a choice. And the choices that I made, I may regret them. I may not like them. I may not gotten what I wanted, but I still made choices. And at the time, I benefited from those choices. That's what you have to do to hold yourself accountable. And I will not ever say this man is guilty. I'm saying not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. We have got to stand on the righteousness of God. We have got to get back to what Christ has called us to do. Men, take your rightful place in leadership. Women, take your rightful place back in leadership. And the choices that you made, ask God to forgive you of those choices and start to live the life that God has called you. Because it's not going to be a big win for Black women. That's totally, that's just a false statement. It's a false statement because God put us here together. He created Adam, and from Adam, he created Eve for us to be sharers, to work together as man and woman, to uplift one another, to be there for each other. And when you take a woman and place them against a man and pit them against a man, you are creating chaos in this world. And God does not cause us to create chaos because God is not of confusion. And this is what's happening. And this is what the women in the judicial system, those prosecutors and the judge are doing, is pitting these women against this man. And if it turns out the way that we don't want it to be, and we're not claiming a defeat. We're claiming victory. We are standing on the promises of God, and we're claiming a victory. And we need to continue to speak out because we've talked about the bias in this case for 2 years when this man got arrested. And he couldn't make bond. We talked about the corruption in the judicial system. These are things that we talked about, and we talked about it over and over and over. Over here at Real World, I don't have the transcripts. I was on a couple of other people's channel that purchased the transcripts, and that's how I know about the testimonies and things like that in the transcript. But I actually did not purchase the transcripts myself, if that's the question that you're asking. Well, I don't recall. Yeah, I don't recall. That's what they were saying. They don't recall. But I'm going to tell you that I don't recall is an easy way. Real World, I don't recall is an easy way of just not trying to incriminate yourself on the stand, because a lot of them, they were told to say, oh, I just don't recall, even though they know. Hi, Pap. Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. A lot of them did that. I don't recall. I don't recall. That's what they said. I mean, but that's just the easy way of keeping yourself from being incriminating yourself on the stand by saying that you don't recall. But we heard both sides of the transcript. Real World. Real World, let me ask you a question. Hi, I Rise Solo. How you doing? Welcome to the chat. Real World, let me ask you a question. What is your stance? What is your stance on R. Kelly? Do you believe that he's guilty or innocent? What is your stance on that, Real World? If you don't mind. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to support R. Kelly. That is your right to do that. But we do support justice. We are not for injustice, but we are for justice over here. So, I mean, what we're talking about is what we've seen from the transcripts. We've seen the violation of the constitutional rights, and real world, whatever you believe, we respect what you believe. But what we're saying to you is that if you had a daughter or a son, you want to make sure that you take emotions out of it. You want to make sure that you're following the law and that you take emotions out. And that's what we want to make sure. And you saying that he's not innocent, but were you there with any of the encounters? Were you where with any of the encounters? Real world, were you with any of the encounters? Did you spend time with Mr. Kelly? Those are the things that we need to ask you. Right, and I know you come in peace, and this is a peaceful channel. We talk about Christ over here, but we also are going to talk about social issues, and it just so happened to be that Mr. Kelly is, it's a high profile case, and we're going to talk about it. But we also talk about the biblical perspectives, the Bible over here. We talk about a lot of that over here. So we respect your opinion, and thank you for coming in peace. But what I'm saying to you is that when we're not an eyewitness and an ear witness to any of that, we do have to go. We do have to look at both sides. And so I'm not talking about just one side. I'm talking about what the witnesses were saying on the stand, and then what the cross-examination did. So I'm coming from both perspectives of it, because I could never get out here and be a biased person, real world. I'm not biased. I know what it is to be a victim and to be a survivor, and I'm not biased. But what I am saying is that I stand for justice, and what I've seen is a lot of injustice, and we all have to reflect on taking our emotions out of it, because there's a lot of people that put their emotions in it, and we have to take our emotions out to see what laws, were there any laws that he violated, were there any laws that he broke, because when you look at it, he still was with women, and those women were with him voluntarily, real world. Now, real world, how old were you at this time that you're saying he was coming to your school? I'd like to know, how old were you? Because you're saying there was a bus that would come to our school and take us to his parties. And so how old were you? Because what type of school are we talking about here? And right, Casey, I understood that when he did go to the schools, it was to give back and to talk to his music teacher. But real world, I'd like to know, how old were you? And what school was this? What type of school was it? Was it elementary, middle school? And at the time, we called it junior high. So you were in high school. How old were you? Do you mind? How old were you? Or were you under 18? I would say that. Were you under 18? Because you said you was in high school, and some students are 18 in high school. So were you under 18? And too cute, you make a very valid point. You do. So you were under 18, and you got on a bus without permission from your parents. Am I getting this right? Put a 1 in the chat, real world, if I'm getting this right. You got on a bus without your parents' permission, and you went to a party where there was a grown man. Is that what you're telling me? So this is why I'm talking about this, real world, because what I'm saying to you is that you women, young girls, teenagers, have to make better choices. So this video is about making better choices for us as females and holding ourselves accountable also. Do you agree with that or not? That women, young women, girls have to hold themselves accountable. So if you were in the 10th grade and you got on a bus, and I'm just hypothetically speaking because you put that there, but you got on a bus, you were in the 10th grade, and you went to a grown-ups party. You went to a grown-ups party. So do you believe you should be held accountable for that choice that you made? See, that's where we're at with this. We as women have to make better choices, because I wouldn't have never got on a bus, on a grown man's bus. And I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, I wouldn't have got on any bus. And you said it was a party for other kids. Were there a party for other kids? The party was at his house. What type of party was it? Because remember, real world, you must be, I'm wondering how old you are, because R. Kelly has not always been in his 40s and 50s. So, he was in his 20s at some time, real world. So Did you have permission to get on that bus? And did your parents know where you were? That's very important, because that's how we start. We teach, look, train up a child in the way they should go. And we have to hold people accountable. Okay, so you went. Did you have permission to go, though? Because you said it was a kid's party at his house. So yes, we went. But did you have permission to go? That's a question. Did you have permission to go? Did your parents know where you were at when you got on that bus, or before you got on that bus? So they didn't know. They did not KNOW, because you put NO, but KNOW, your parents didn't know. See, that's important, real world. And the reason why I'm saying that, okay, reason why I'm saying that to you is because we, as younger women, older women teach the younger women and about responsibility and accountability. And so you're saying that some of your friends was violated. Did you witness that by R. Kelly, or was it other people there that did it? See, you have to be an eyewitness and an ear witness, and it just can't be he said, she said. And we do have authorities in place. We have the police department in place. The school, there should have been school authorities there, so that but you didn't get violated. Okay, so you didn't get violated, but you're saying your friends did. But we have to the police department is available to make police reports when things that like this, when women say they've been violated, whether they're a young girl or not, you have to make a police report. You just can't say this happened because someone told you that. And when you really go back, real world, did you look at the transcripts? Did you get a chance to listen to the transcripts? Because I can give you some channels that that have detailed notes and have both the transcripts of both sides, because we can't go by what the media says. And that's something that I want to really let you know, real world, is that the media is very biased. You said your friend or her parents went to the police and they did nothing. That's something that the parents have to, if they feel something really did happen. Hey, Trevin, how you doing? How you doing? Welcome to the chat. But real world, if your friends went to the police and they didn't do anything, they should have kept, they should have asked for the investigation to stay open, because you're saying that the police didn't do anything. Maybe they didn't have enough evidence, because they follow processes, real world, when it comes to the police department. They follow processes. And so that's something that has to, the police and the parents, they have to get together and do what they need to do. But when I talk with you, when I'm talking to you about this, is because we want to make sure. You're right, she is. She told us that she was Ocove, and she said she came in peace. And I just want to educate her and bring her level of awareness up, because you have to be able to get to both parts in it, both transcripts, not just sit there and listen to what the biased media is putting out there, and not getting to, just listening to one side of it, real world. So I thank you for, coming over in peace. You're not going to change the supporters and people that fight against injustice and believe in justice, and for the things that we have witnessed and seen. And we've been dealing with this for over 2 years, real world. You're not going to change our minds over here. But I'm just trying to bring you up to a level of awareness where you have a better understanding. And so you read the transcripts on Atmos Love, is what you're saying. You read those transcripts. Did you read what the on the other side, the cross-examination? Did you? Because those are in that transcript. Did you read? Did he read all that to you, Atmos Love? Because I understand that he's not an R. Kelly supporter, and that he actually has said a lot of, mean things about this man. But you have to remember, real love, that Mr. Robert Kelly, right, and you will not change my opinion, and good, you won't, but Mr. Kelly is a man. And when we look at another human being, he is a man that should not have ever been subjected to the violation of his constitutional rights, his civil rights, and all the other stuff that they've done to this man. But we know that we serve a mighty God over here, and he's still standing, because what you all thought you were going to do to this man, you are never bigger than God. And I want you to take that back to wherever you go, to Ocove, One Color, One Voice. Take it back over there to Atmos, wherever you want to take it. And this is with all due respect, real love, but he is a man. And we are not going to ever believe that anybody should have been treated the way he's been treated. And when when you look at the constitutional rights that have been violated, some people want to have they want to select certain people that follow the constitutional rights, and some shouldn't. But we are going to follow, and we're going to believe in the constitutional rights. And there's a lot of people that played a part in this real world. And you say that we're on the outside looking in, but I want you to go to Infamous Miss Sylvia's channel, and you can go back and look at all her videos. She has those transcripts. So, and then I want you to know that you weren't there always either. You're saying you got on a bus without permission. So right there, that's where you were wrong at, real world, because your mother should have knew where you were at. And if you were not at the trial, real world, then you cannot say that R. Kelly is guilty. You may think he's guilty because your emotions plays a lot in this, but you have to really go and look at the transcripts. And I want you, I really would like you to level up, real world, and, you know, level up so that you can have a better understanding, so that you can weigh it. You know what I'm saying? Because if you only have one side of it, real world, you're never going to level up. And I'm just being honest with you, because we all should be seeking the truth. We all should be striving to get to the truth. We should never be so biased in our way of thinking that we don't want to hear the truth and we don't want to hear another side of it. And if you saw someone being violated and, you know, you didn't report it, you're just, you are part of that. And we just have to be honest with you. But I appreciate you coming over, because I'm always willing to have a smart, intelligent conversation with others. I didn't go to get violated even as a teenager. Right. And no one's saying that you did. No one's saying you went there to get violated. And you said that it was reported. But we're going to get back to what we were talking about, real world. You're welcome to stay in the chat, but we don't have no disrespect over here. We won't do that. You said you came in peace, so we're good with that. And we're good with came in peace. We're good with that. But we are not. We are R. Kelly. We believe in justice. We fight against injustice, and we believe this man was railroaded. We believe that he's been violated. He's the real victim. We believe a lot of things have happened to this man. His property, his music, all types of things, his money, all types of things has happened to this man. And so we're not going to change our mind over here. So, you know, you're welcome to stay. If you can handle the truth, you're welcome to stay. And if you're not able to handle the truth, I pray for you that you will level up and you will have a higher level of awareness when you leave this channel. And we love the Lord over here. We stand on his promises. And one thing, real world, see this book here, Healing the Soul of a Woman. There's a lot of women out there, real world, that have emotional wounds that need to be healed, so they can stop blaming men and stop blaming the wrong men for things that have happened to them, and they're blaming the wrong man. So this is a good book for you. If you want to read it, share it with some of your friends that are still having problems with men that have probably violated them and they didn't get the help that they need. So that's how we're going to handle that. You know what, real world, let me say something else to you. When you talk about God, God has a big G, not a little g. So if you talk, because no gods can punish R. Kelly when it's the little g. Those are idol gods. So always refer to God with a big G. And God will punish everybody that has sinned. God will punish everyone. You know what I'm saying, real world? He's going to punish everyone. So, you know, we're going to leave that up to God to punish people for their sins. But always understand that there's a difference between sins and crimes. Understand that. And he has his rights under the Constitution like anyone else. And right now, real world, he's innocent until proven guilty. The presumption of innocent until proven guilty. So that's where we stand. And so I thank you for joining over here, but you have to level up so that you have some more information. Okay. So have a good day, real world. So let's get back to what we were saying. So like I was saying, there was a lot of other people that were sleeping with those women. And it even came out that JP didn't have nothing to do with R. Kelly in that way. She just told a lot of stories. And I heard something, and this is just something I heard, that she wants to kill her children. And has anyone called CPS about that? I mean, like, you know, we want to hold people accountable, certain people, select people accountable. But then you have people out there saying they want to kill their children. That's really heartbreaking to hear that. And there's a lot of mandated reporters out here on social media. So I would suggest that she be very careful about that, because there's a lot of mandated reporters out here that are mandated to report things like that when you're saying you want to kill your children, but you're steady having babies. But a lot of these women on the stand, and getting back to the Jane Doe #5 that wrote those letters. She wrote those letters, and she meant every bit of what she wrote in those letters. And she found out that R. Kelly is a very nice man. He's compassionate. He's kind. She found those things out while she was there. But she was a woman that still wanted things. And look at what she did. So she stole, look, didn't she steal his property? Didn't I am too. Didn't she steal his property? Sweaters, cut up his clothes, stole money, jewelry, all those things she stole from him. She stole so many things from him. Okay, real world, but there is a rumor out there from her sisters talking about that that's what she wanted to do. So, okay. So anyway, but she stole a lot from R. Kelly. But we just have to hold ourselves accountable as women. Yes, they were, Priscilla. They definitely was. They were. And yeah, JP was Bubba's girlfriend, and she paid him for it. Wasn't it $4,000 that she paid him and paid him off? And that's what, she was paying him money. And he was the one that let her in his house. She was the one that let him in her house. And you're right, Tanya. You're right, Tanya, that a lot of these women blame R. Kelly for what the real person did. Just like with the Angelo Clarys. They're blaming R. Kelly, but yet still they were the ones that were out there committing criminal acts. They're still criminal minded. And they also come from an impoverished area where the income in where they're from is like 35,000 for family income, so it's not a lot of income going on. A lot of tax money probably are not going back and forth in that, city that they're in. And so he was always cooking up something, if it was lighting, the dildos, being a driver, all this stuff, and badgering their daughter to get more money out of her to give to them. And a lot of that stuff was going on. And they need to be held accountable. I believe that they should be held accountable for the part that they played in this. They should be held accountable, the parents. And even the Savages, and that attorney Gerald Griggs should be held accountable. He should be disbarred. And now he's running for the NAACP, like the president or something, the head of it or whatnot. If I could vote there, I will vote. I will not vote for him. I will vote against him because he does not deserve to be over any NAACP with the part that he played in this as well. So we stand for Mr. Kelly. We believe in his innocence, and we say, free R. Kelly, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. And these are the things that we say over here, and we stand on those promises. And we watched an emotional, abused young woman that was abused before she got to R. Kelly cut up this man's coat. And that was so traumatic. And to see this play out on social media is very, very traumatic, but it was a situation where this should have never happened, and the mother should never have allowed her daughter to get on social media and to do all that stuff. That's just so so just vile that she did that. But corruption, yep, at its finest in this judicial system. I truly believe that corruption, and that's just so foul. But I want to also say something. I also want to say something about this. Do you remember in the documentary, Shabazz documentary, Presidents? Do you remember where she said she started crying and she said that he told her to do, to go live your life or something, and do whatever makes you happy? If you all remember that, I don't believe that she was crying, because she, felt like he did anything. You know what she was crying about, in my opinion? She was crying because he did not say what she wanted him to say. She wanted him to say, I want to be with you, stay with me, I love you, I'll choose you over Joycelyn and all that stuff. She wanted to hear, I want to make you my wife. She wanted to hear that. And it didn't happen. And that's why she was crying. But he told her, do what makes you happy. And she was crying. And I always thought about that when I seen it, when it first came out and aired, and I saw it, and I said, you know what? She's crying because he didn't choose her. He told her, he was basically breaking up with her in a gentle way, and she was really hurting. And no one's mocking her because this is a young woman. But that's the thing, as we've been experienced, and we know We know that she was crying because this man didn't want to be with her anymore. He didn't want to be with her. She was immature. She was skillless. She didn't have any skills. And she was a selfish person, creating havoc. And there are so many other relationships out there where there are men with different women. They have multiple girlfriends in a glamorous relationship. That's not illegal in America. Even cheating on your spouse is not illegal. But at the same time, we still have to put our emotions aside and see what the law is and look at the laws. And we have to understand the difference between sins and crimes. And that regardless of what someone is being charged with, they still have constitutional rights. And this man has been violated on every level. He has been violated on so many levels. But as Black women or Black women, women of color, this cannot be a big win for Black women. Anytime a person's rights is being violated and they're being accused, falsely accused, and they are seeking a conviction on someone that's truly innocent. No, you're right, Casey. None of them was talking about getting an education. And the only one that was in college when she left college was Joycelyn. That is absolutely correct. She was the only one that I'm aware of. All the other ones, no, they weren't. They were getting money. But do you think they were saved? No, they weren't. And real world, that's right, Chris. Real world, those women were caught in lies on the stand. Even the judge pointed that out. And that's why it's important for you to level up and get away from Atmos channel for now. You're more than welcome to support him. But what I'm gonna say, maybe I used the wrong words. You should try Sylvia's channel. Try her channel. Maybe you will see things a different way. And they were surviving off of him. We're talking about surviving R. Kelly. They were surviving off of R. Kelly. And the thing is with Mr. Kelly, he has to have hope in Jesus Christ, regardless, what people want to say. Because how many people that there has been people that not know them directly, but there are people, even me, myself, like when the Enron case happened that time. If anybody's old enough to remember the Enron and the corruption in there and how they stole all the money and the people's retirements, that man had a wife and children and he killed himself. Oh yeah, no bias. Real world, you're saying bias, or are you saying we're biased over here? But they killed themselves. They were not able to stand what they had did. And when you look at a man that says they're innocent, oh, okay. But when you look at a man that says he's innocent, he has faced everything, and even the trial, he's faced it. He's shown up, and he's facing it. And just because he's silent doesn't mean that he's guilty. And we have to understand a lot of different aspects of this case in order to right, Trevin, for real. Do you see? Yep, Sylvia, infamous Sylvia, real world, infamous. Let me type it in the chat for you, okay? And then Trevin also has some information, but let me put her channel name in there because then you probably can find it, okay? I need to get off my caps here. I had caps on here. Okay, so infamous Sylvia's channel. And then Trevin has other ones that you can actually go to their channels, real world. And it's not biased. Honestly, it's not. The media is biased. But if you look at it, they'll give you both sides of it. They will definitely give you both sides of it. And, real world, I know that you want to, you believe that he's guilty. You believe that, some of your friends or some of the girls that you were growing up with, were violated. But at the end of the day, real world, you have to be able to, see both sides of it. And we have to see both sides of it. Whether we're supporters or not, we have to see both sides of it. The Plainest Jane is who I watch. Who is that? Is that the name of a channel? Yeah, so you do have to yeah, I saw that today, Rosalind, that she's writing a book about her interview with Mr. Canick and then her experience at the trial. Is that what the book is about? Because I did see that today that she's going to be writing a book about that. And okay, so oh, okay. Plain as Jane. What's her channel about, Real World? Is it a biased channel or oh, okay. Thank you, One Pap. Thank you. Yeah, no, we don't do that, Real World. We want both sides. We want both sides because see, when you believe in justice, you have to hear both sides. You have to hear the prosecutor's witnesses, and you have to hear the cross-examination. We want both sides, Real World. We do. And that's how we have to be. Thank you, Trevin, too. So no, we can't go on biased channels. That's not how we operate. We have to be unbiased in what we see, but we also see what goes on, and we have to, like I said, level up and become more aware. That'll help you in the long run, Real World. That will definitely help you in the long run. Level up and to bring your level of awareness up and educate yourself. Get information to help you to see things clear. And if you're hurting because you feel like your friends were violated, we pray for you, Real World. But you have to take your emotions out of this to see both sides of it. And that's all I'm saying to you. With all due respect, take your emotions out of it to see both sides of the case. And once you do that, and if you go to a channel that's not biased, because they're going to be supporters. I have to tell you that they're supporters and they believe in Mr. Kelly's innocent, but they're going to give you both sides of it. They're going to give you both sides of it. And you also have to be mature too, about the whole thing. You have to be mature. So that's what I can offer to you, Real World. But again, holding ourselves accountable as women, making better choices and being accountable for the choices we make. And that goes for you too. When you were a child, your mother didn't know you got on that bus, as you said to us, to all of us here. So that's something that, probably shouldn't have ever happened. We should always make sure when we're minors and we're living in our parents' home that they know where we're at. And we should get permission if we're children before we go taking off somewhere. See, we have to be accountable. And if you have children, Real World, I don't know if you do. I hope that you can level up so that you can show them both sides. Don't ever believe that it's one-sided. No story is one-sided, because that is a narrow mind way of thinking. When you believe, oh, okay, you are educated. Okay. Well, you know what, Real World, I'm educated too. And I'm proud to thank God and my Lord and Savior that I was able to pursue. So you know what, I am too. And there's a lot of people in this chat that are also too. So don't ever think that we're not over here. But we are experienced people, and we see the truth. And we're not saying no. Let me tell you something, Real World. Just because we believe in justice and we are against injustice, and we believe in the innocence of Mr. Kelly, is not one-sided, because we've seen both sides of it. We've seen it and we've heard it. So no, it's not one-sided. That's why I'm saying to you that you got to see both sides of it, Real World. Because no, it's not one. We're not painting a one-sided picture, and we're not seeing only one side. We're not seeing only one side. We're really telling you that, and we're being honest with you. We're not just seeing one side. We wanted the truth. And if you've been following social media for the last 2 years, you will actually see, or maybe a little over 2 years, you will actually see things that came out from these accusers. So, you can say what you want to say about what happened then, allegedly, and I have to say allegedly. You can say that, Real World, but Trevin, but what I want to say to you, Real World, is we are looking at what's going on now. And that's what we have to stay focused on. What are the charges in this case? And is he guilty of the charges that they have put out there, the prosecution and what the judge read? No, they did not prove those charges that they were looking for, Real World. And that's what we have to look at. It's not about our personal feelings, perspective, and views. It is about the charges that he's facing now, and what is the jury supposed to do? There's to follow the instructions of the judge that's overseeing this case. And Real World, we have to look at the charges, what he's being charged with. Good afternoon, Letitia Miller. Miss Miller, how are you? Welcome to the chat. But we have to look at the laws. And did he break any laws? Real World, no. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. And that's what I'm saying to you. Well, Real World, I think that I think for you, I think it's important that you quit while you're ahead, because I don't believe that you were involved in all of that. I don't think that you have been around him. You said you got on a bus without permission from your parents. You said you did that. And now you're saying there's more women and these new women, and this has been going on since I was in school. You're saying all these things, real world. And like you said, you respect our opinion and we respect your opinion and what your views are about what you think. But over here again, we stand on the fact that Mr. Kelly is not guilty of the charges that they are trying to place on him. And I want you to know that you really need to be careful with how all this narrative is going out here. Breaking hearts is not a crime. We've all probably had our heart broken at some time or another, real world, in a relationship. Breaking hearts is not a crime. When people are in consensual relationships, it's not a crime. And we have to look at that. You not only, if you respect that, but you have to know that in your heart, you have to know that. See, we can respect a lot of things, but do we really believe what we respect? See, I can tell you I respect that, but do I believe what I respect? I believe he's not guilty based on the information in the transcripts and based on testimony that's been put out there. So that's why I believe he's not guilty. And from all the other stuff that have been put out here with these accusers, all on social media, half naked, exposing themselves, doing all types of stuff that I would never consider doing. Well, you can't volunteer as a child, but you know what, real world? Let me say this to you. You told us that you got on that bus and your parents did not know that you got on that bus. You told us that. So you had no business, and I'm going to say this to you with all due respect, you had no business getting on that bus if you did not have permission. I don't care if it was a children's party or whatever you're talking about, allegedly, you didn't have permission to do that. And this is what I'm saying to you. So, I'm not going to say it no more, because I think that did I do dumb stuff when I was a teenager? No, I didn't do dumb stuff, because no, I did not. That's one thing about me. I wasn't a dumb teenager. So no, I did not do dumb stuff, because I knew what my consequences was going to be as a teenager. If I did things that my parents did not want me to do, I know I was in hot water. And I had brothers, and they were not going to allow this to go on with their only sister. So no, I did not do dumb stuff. And I'm going to tell you that I did not do dumb stuff. And I know how to protect myself. And when I was a younger person, and make good decisions. And I'm going to tell you that. And I made some very good decisions. So no, I did not do no dumb stuff, because when you start doing dumb things, you get dumb prizes and you get yourself caught up in things. And these women, and let me keep it real with you, when these women made those choices to be with R. Kelly, or whether their parents pushed them off over there, the choices they made were their choice to be with this man, because they were looking for things that their parents could not provide for them. They were looking for money, and the parents were the one that was setting all this up and all this back and forth, and they put this out in the media. And see, Angelo, he talks a good game with a high tone of voice, but he is a liar, and the truth is not in him, because he's made up a lot of lies. Angelo Clary. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, some children did, but I know I didn't do that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't give a grown man, but at the same time, it doesn't give you all permission to put yourselves in situations, because if you weren't over there telling him how old you were, and that's another thing, real world, those women lied about their age. And if this man really likes underage females, then why would people need to lie about their age? And they got caught up on the stand. Fake IDs, lying about their age. And even the parents lied about their age to the police, to the security. They lied. So why would they need to lie about their age if this man likes underage females? Because let me tell you something. If I like something, I'm not going to lie about it. I just like it. You see what I'm saying? So there is no reason for me to lie about my age if I know that this man likes underage females. See, real world, over here, you're going to get the facts. You're going to get some information that you're going to be able to educate the people that's over there on the op side, that's over on the left. Let me keep it real with you, because what I'm telling you is that when they sit up here and say all this stuff about this man, why would they lie about their age? And if the man doesn't know what age they are, and they're saying they're 18, because in the Chicago, the age of consent is 17, real world. And why would a man chance his life? Well, let me say it like this. If a young woman is 18 is considered an adult in America. So you have to understand that as well. So whatever choice that a man has to be with an 18-year-old, that's their choice. We're not here to judge somebody from being, it's a lot. Let me tell you something, real world. There's a lot of sugar daddies and sugar mamas out here. Do you not know that case where that woman was messing with that 14-year-old? Now that's a real situation there. And she did go to jail for that. And guess what? She got out and they got married and had children together. So what I'm saying to you, real world, there's a lot of sugar daddies and sugar mamas out here. And there's a lot of young women like older men because they're stable, they have money, and they like that. So if you don't like the laws, real world, if you don't like these laws, you have to do something about the laws to have them changed across America to be one set age. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because 18 is considered an adult, even though we as parents think our children at 18, we want to protect them and we want to still look at them in a certain way. But guess what? See, you like older men. See, bingo. Oak Cove is not going to like you being over here. You know that because you're getting some knowledge. You're getting some stuff that you can level up and be a better woman and making better decisions. Oak Cove, you sure they're not going to like, you sure you're okay for being over here? Because Oak Cove, they didn't like us. They don't really like the supporters. And you like older men. See, you letting us know that you like older men. And there's nothing wrong with that. But don't be, you know what? But let me give you some advice. Elvis, no, because he had no business messing with Priscilla. And see, this is another thing, real world. No, he's not innocent. And that was an error in my time. And I'm telling you something. They're not making, see, this is another thing, real world. They're not making issues about these white men messing with these young women that were really underage. Because from what I understand, she was young and she was very young, and he kept on, he waited, but he was pursuing her and the family was okay with that. See, that's what I'm telling you. So we should never participate in taking away our black man constitutional rights and saying that they don't deserve the right to due process, the right to face their accusers, and the right to, to have a defense. Oh, okay. Oak Cole is not biased. We just read and understand. Well, let me say this to you. Real world. When it came down to Larry, and I know he's incarcerated, but see, let me tell you something. He broke some laws and committed some criminal acts. And then he got involved in something. He should have minded his own business and let the judicial system handle it. Because he came out his own mouth and said that he got people to lie. I got bus drivers to lie. We paid people off. He said he did that. And he did that on a video. Did you see that video? Or you hear it? Was you in his chat when he was doing all that? You want Larry free for the crimes he committed? Well, real world, let me say this to you, because that's up to you to want Larry free. But let me say this to you. When he embezzled that money with his co-conspirators, guess what he did? He took money from people. Like, if you have a credit card with Synchrony Bank, do you not know that could affect your interest rates? It could affect the late payment fee. They can raise it to recoup money that he stole. And he has to pay money back. He was wrong for what he did. And not only was he wrong, real world, but he was actually doing things to other people out here on YouTube and doxing people and getting in their information and threatening people. So what? Oh, the people didn't testify? Well, you're saying, okay, so did he have a bench trial? Because you're saying to free Larry. We're not saying free Larry over. You know what we're saying, real world? We're saying, Larry, do your time. And he actually needs more time. He should be prosecuted. Real world, Larry should be prosecuted for the part he played in this R. Kelly takedown. And he hurt a lot of people in the process because he stole other people's identity. Look what they did. Well, look what he did to R. Kelly. See, let me tell you something. When you're over here, sin is sin. And he also, he committed some crimes, real world. So when you say, look what they did to him on YouTube, look what they did to R. Kelly. Not just on YouTube, not just on Instagram, Facebook, the biased media. Look at and the people that was around him. Look what they did. And look what they're still trying to do in the judicial system. So, he played a part in it, real world. He really did. And actually, let me just keep it real with you. Larry acted like a cult leader, real world. He acted like he was a cult leader over the people that followed him. He really acted like that. And you should go back and look at one of my videos, and it'll tell you what a cult is. And he really acted like that, Real World. And I don't want you to be in a cult anymore. He's incarcerated, so you can break free, Real World. You can take off running, you can break free, and you can say free at last. You can reconcile back to Christ and get that freedom that you deserve from Christ. Because Larry acted like a cult leader over there. He really did. And I'm just keeping it real with you on that. And we're not going to participate in any of that. We're not participating in it. And as far as Don Russell, Real World, I won't be able to speak on Don Russell. I can't speak on that. So, with all honesty, I cannot speak on Don Russell. Okay. And I can't respond to anything, because I won't be able to do that. And so I'm just going to keep it real with you. But Real World, you have an opportunity to break free of that. You don't want that behind your name. That's having a cult when you have that behind your name. You don't need that behind your name. You identify with who you are. You see what I'm saying? I know, but you want to identify with who you are. You should really look at that. You don't need that on your name. You just need to level up, get the information that you need, so that you can be empowered. And if you're hurting over things that you feel happen to you or your friend or to your friends, ask God to heal your broken heart. Ask God to do those things for you. And I'm going to be teaching a Bible lesson in October, Real World, and it's called Healing the Soul of a Woman. So if you have some emotional wounds, you are more than welcome to join this Bible study for women. You are free. Okay. And my name is not Boo. Okay. So don't disrespect me. My name is not Boo. So we're not going to go with, we're not a cult, Boo. I'm not Boo. And I've always addressed you as Real World, and my name is not Boo. Okay. So let's get that straight over here too. So anyway, Larry is a career criminal. He's always been a career criminal. So, and you know what? Larry's he's going to do his time. He's doing his time where he needs to be. He did admit it, and he actually lied to you all too when he was taking money up and all of that. He knew what he was facing, and he wasn't truthful. And you should want to know the truth about your leader. He was a corrupt leader. So anyway, getting back to what we were saying, we've been on here an hour. Does anyone want to have anything else that they would like to add in the chat about, this whole situation? What the title is that, as Black women, we cannot support what this media and the biased media and the narrative out there is. This is not no soccer game. It's not a volleyball game. And this will not be, this would definitely not be a win for Black women. Okay. Well, what I'm going, okay, Real World. Exactly. And you'll be able to it'll be in the comment section where you'll be able to get the information so that you can, and be prepared to learn. Be prepared to be open-minded and learn, and bring your Bible. And just so you know, I teach from the King James Version, but I'll be letting everyone know what day it's actually going to be. It's going to be in October. We'll start it, and we will be going over that book. Right, MacDine. He didn't. And that is true. He just didn't. And that's what I'm saying. He didn't tell them the truth up front. And that's not right to mislead people. You should, as a leader, you shouldn't mislead anyone. You should be upfront and tell the truth about what's really going on. MacDine, and that's a possibility. He tried, but right, Yep. Okay, Real World. Thank you. Okay, so, because there's a lot of women that do need healing from emotional wounds, and they're holding men accountable for things that happened to them a long time ago. Oh, yeah, thank you, Casey. I know you excited. You and Pep is one of my biggest, and Pris, I can always depend on y'all. Right. Real keyword, Real World, she told you. Okay, so, so that's all we're saying over here. But yeah, we stand on the promises of God, and we stand on what is right, man. And right is right and wrong is wrong. And they're trying to change. Thank you, Pris. They're trying to change the narrative about the definition of wrong and right. They're trying to do all, but you can't do that because God still sits up on the throne, and nobody can beat God. So no matter what narrative is out here, God is going to continue to expose it. Because look what he's doing. He's still exposing. He exposed that they were being biased towards certain journalists that have applied and got approved for those transcripts and didn't get them. He's exposed that. God just continues to expose. And I know some of you have been following my channel, And you know what? You know that I said that a long time ago, that God will expose these people. I always have said that. And it's interesting because in a lot of my messages that I talked about a lot of things that are social issues. And some people probably say, oh, she's just over there talking about God. But let me tell you something. There's a lot in my messages that you can really learn from with social issues and things that go on in this world. And we do have to get to a better place. Thank you, Chris. And we have to get to a better place in society. But we should never, ever participate in the downfall of another man, no matter what race they are. And our black men, we need our black men. We need our black men to be leaders. We need our black men to stand up in the community. We need our men. And we are not going to participate in putting our men away when we know that it's some beeswax and some baloney, phony baloney out here. And, I was talking about testimony and test the lies. We got people out here that were doing these testimonies on the stand, and they got caught up by Mr. Mechanic. They got caught up. And that is exactly what they did. They got caught up. And you're right. He was hiding his face with a mask on Nick at Night's channel. And that was, up there doing all of that stuff. Came out with a mask on and harassed him and Angelo. And then he came back and apologized. But they were wrong for that. Because she had every right to just speak on what was spoken to her, what was given to her. And a lot of people that support Mr. Kelly have been attacked. We have been called names. We have been talked down, but we stand on the promises. I don't identify with any of those names. I know what my name is on my birth certificate, and I don't claim none of that negative toxicity over there. I claim what God's got for me. That's what I claim. And that's what we stand on over here. So it was good talking to you, Real World. If you're still over here, thank you for coming on, but we stand on what we stand on. You can't convince what's right. Whatever is right is already right. It don't need no convincing. And the truth don't need no help. Oh, you know what, Real World? I think that people have really gotten under your skin. You know what I'm saying? And it's just really, I really want you, like I said, I really want to see you do better in your thought process, and being accountable and responsible will help you do that. So anyway, as we move on, yes, they do, Casey. Yes, he did need a Prince. He got time off for that. And he shouldn't have got time off. He should have served all of his time. He really, truly should have served all of his time. And MacDime, that is true. Yeah, he should have served all his time. But I don't want to keep you all any longer. So if you have any further information, that you want to share that we could talk about in the chat. Otherwise, this is a nice Sunday afternoon. And I know you all want to be with your families and still have a great time before you probably have to go to work tomorrow. And for me, I have to go on the trail and go do my run. So before it gets dark, what does that say? Leave the world. Leave the world. What are you talking about? Leave the world. One Pap, that's my girl though. One Pap is my girl. Be blessed, Real World. But One Pap, Casey, but One Pap is my girl. You guys, I know you guys go on her channel, but she always be having me rolling. I mean, I be laughing so hard with One Pap. I am very serious. She be having me rolling with that stuff she be saying. Like, Pap's my girl, I hope to get to meet you in person, a few of you, because you guys, but just amazing people. But yeah, One Pap, she have all of us laughing over there, stuff she be saying. But it be real though, but it be funny. And it's funnier because it's real, keeping it real all day long. We just got to keep it real. But free R. Kelly. Everybody put free R. Kelly, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty in the chat for me, please. And then we are praying. We are definitely praying. What is that? Don't do what? Don't do that, sis. Oh yeah, I think MacDime, shouldn't she? She should do stand-up because she is really funny though. She has us laughing. I mean, like the things she be saying, like as far as just, day-to-day real talk, she do be saying things that are funny. And she has a very, deep intellectual thought process. She really does. She has a deep intellectual thought process. So don't ever underestimate people just because you don't know them. You have to get to know people. You can't just be judging people. Okay, bye. Have a good evening. Thank you for stopping by, Real World. Have a good evening. But anyway, yeah, we just have to stand on the truth, but not guilty, not guilty, we just stand on that, and we just free R. Kelly, man. We just stand on that, and we pray that God's gonna do His real, do His will. Oh, yeah, she talking some stuff. Nobody. That's why I said, Chris had to remind me. I'm trying to help her. That's what I do. Try to help people. But no, we're not entertaining that. We just, all that stuff about somebody putting on a mask to lead the country. They wouldn't even let him get on the plane, because when you go in banks and credit unions, they tell you to take your glasses off. You can't even go in a bank with shades on. They ask you to remove them. So you're not getting into an airport with a mask on. The security will be stopping you, be asking you what you doing in here with a mask on. They won't even let you get on the airplane with a mask on. They don't do that kind of stuff. No. Yeah, they don't do that. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I want to let me just put this let me put this in this let me put something up here for you all. This is the ISBN number here for this book, because it will help you to participate, to have this book. I'm sorry. It will help you to have this book. I don't think it's an expensive book. Why is this not? Hold on. I think, there we go. My numbers key was off. Okay, so this is the book, right? The ISBN number for this book right here. So if you just put in the ISBN number, this is the book. And if you want to participate, it's going to be at 3 o'clock on Sundays, because I was trying to accommodate people that are, in different time frames. So I was trying to accommodate people. And I'm actually looking forward to this class. And I hope that you all will join, that want to join. And we can laugh a little, but we can learn some things. And whatever translation Bible that you have, that you feel some in, different translations, whatever Bible. I always read out of the King James Version, but whatever Bible. So I'm just letting people know. So it'll be in October. And we're just going to do it from YouTube. We're going to do it from there. So I thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate all of your smart, intelligent comments. And thank you for stopping by. And all of my new subscribers that have subscribed, thank you very much. And even if you were just dropping in just to see what we're talking about, and I want to say, everyone have a blessed evening and a beautiful week, upcoming week. Father's Day tomorrow, and have a good night. God bless you all.